Well, hi, this is Darryl Davis, coming in here to talk about designing a career worth smiling about. This is part of a series training that we've done for our industry that addresses the class action commission lawsuit that we find ourselves in. The purpose of these are to maybe opinionate about some of the case, to enlighten, to simplify, and also train on some perhaps listing and selling ways to deal with this, because this is fundamentally changing literally centuries of how we've been doing our business, not centuries, decades, centuries. Well, we have been around for over 200 years, I will say that. But how we've been doing commissions for the past several decades, since I've been on this planet, actually. Now, I want to share with you what we're going to talk about on this training is about the plaintiffs, the people who are actually the plaintiffs in the first lawsuit, the Sitzer and Burnett lawsuit. Now, I'm going to use Inman article. Inman, they did this thing on these plaintiffs, which, by the way, Inman, if you do not subscribe to Inman, I highly recommend. I think every real estate professional should have a subscription, because they are one of the leading publications in our industry, and they do an incredible job. So I really can't not have it. But anyway, so here's the article that I don't know what it is about that woman in the center, but every time I see her, she just makes me chuckle. And I she looks like a happy. Where did they get that photo? Did she pose for this? Is this like, yay, 5 minutes of stardom? I think she is the first person I'm going to talk about, because Inman didn't put a photo with Holly Ellis, but I'm assuming this is Holly. And so before learning about the suit, she thought that sharing commissions with buyer agents was standard practice. She said she never knew it was an option to negotiate the commission. If she had, I would have gone a different direction. Now, that's a really important line right there, saying that she never knew it was an option to negotiate the commission. And I'll show you why before I finish this slide. The next part of the article says, Ellis testified that 6% commission had already been filled in for me when she signed the contract with her agent. Well, first of all, kudos to that agent. That was great technique. I support that. I train that. You know, whatever fee you charge, you fill it in. But that's not the important part there. The important part is that it was already filled in, meaning it was a blank. See, every MLS form that I know in the country, it doesn't have 6% printed on it, or 5, or 7, or it's a blank. Now, what does that suggest? When you have a contract that has a blank in it, whether it's an interest rate, whether it's a dollar amount, whether it's a percentage, what does that suggest? It suggests that there isn't a standard, that it isn't by law, that it's by the individual person who's willing to fill out and say, this is what I charge. That, in of itself, says it's negotiable, that it's not locked in. Ellis, this is where it gets good. She didn't know that you could negotiate it, right? Remember that? So Ellis, a former high school English teacher. Now, let me just say something about teachers, high school teachers. They are smart. They are smart. When I went to high school, they were smarter than me. High school teachers, by the way, high school teachers, they were truly, I believe, they really are smart folks, because what's true in real estate, anytime a teacher gets into real estate and becomes a real estate agent, they actually do above average than most agents. I think it's their organization, their way of thinking. But anyway, so she was a high school English teacher. Now, if I'm not mistaken, English teachers, they like know how to read. Like agreements. You know, an MLS, I mean, it's not really that complicated. It's like, maybe one page has other disclosures. I don't know, but an English teacher should really understand what they're doing. So to plead ignorance that she didn't understand that she could negotiate, I don't know. But it gets better, like I said. So Ellis, a former high school English teacher who has sold 4 homes and bought 5 in a lifetime. Okay. So this woman, who has been involved in 9 transactions in her lifetime, she didn't know. She didn't know that the commission's negotiable. How many different real estate companies has this woman worked with? Has she not interviewed others? Did she only pick this one, her first house, and she stuck with that one woman her whole entire life during her 9 transactions on 9 sides? That this one agent did all of them, and it was always 6%. So she never knew 9 transactions. Come on now. But wait, there's more. So she's an English teacher who sold 4 homes and bought 5 in her lifetime, is a church-going daughter of a retired realtor, wife of a forklift driver, mother to a blended family of 5 adult children. 5 adult children. I don't know if they've ever bought houses before. Do they know how it works? And grandmother to 4. But here's the real kicker and the icing on the cake. Ellis said her mom was a realtor for 30 years. So for 30 years, your mother, a realtor, a realtor for 30 years, you've done 9 transactions, you're a mother of adult children, how many? A lot? 5 adult children. And you're saying, I didn't know that you could negotiate the commission? Well, what kind of realtor was your mother? Did she do any business? Come on. This is ridiculous. She testified Wednesday afternoon that she paid a 6% total commission on the home sale at issue in this case, ending up with a net equity of $18,295 before paying her Coldwell Banker agent and buyer Keller agent. So she netted $18,000. Well, then she paid the agents. The buyer agent portion added up to 20.55% of her net equity, Catchment noted. So commissions for both agents took about 40%. It's a hard pill to swallow that we would walk away with so little. Really? Really? So watch this. This is now, okay, first of all, let me just say something about this guy, Ketchmark. He's the attorney for the plaintiff. This is the guy that's going after our industry. He's one of the attorneys that's involved in getting their commission of 40% or 30. I don't know. Well, they work on a content. I'm assuming Ellis is not paying Ketchmark millions of dollars in attorney fees. I'm sure that this attorney is on a commission basis. Well, attorneys call it contingent, but it's a commission. So the more money he shakes down and gets out of the industry, Remax, and he gets what, I don't know, 30, 40%. I don't know, because I haven't seen it disclosed anywhere. I haven't seen any transparency from the plaintiff's attorney what his fees are. I don't think that the jury knows. I've talked about this on other videos. So Ketchmark by the way, he's doing a good job. He really is, because I love how he spun that. Let's go back there. He spun it by saying, but this poor Ellis woman who paid this commission to Coldwell Banker and Keller Williams, she paid 40%. 40% of her net equity. So what's 40% of $18,000? Now, so she paid about $8,000 in commissions that had to get split. So $8,000. So Coldwell and Kelly, who got $4,000 each. Wow, that sounds usury. That sounds like a huge amount. Boy, those agents are really raking it in, really shaking it down. But I get it. It's a percentage. 40% seems like a lot. This lawsuit, they say could go into the billions of dollars, like multiple I think $4 billion between this one and the other one that's coming up. So if I just take $1 billion, like right now, anywhere in Remax, as of the recording of this, they've already settled about $80 million. That's a lot. But let's do, so what's 40% of $80 million? That's 8/16/32. So this catch mark already has got about $32 million. If it goes to $1 billion on this one, Ketchmark is going to get 40%. That's $400 million. Plus, he gets reimbursed for his expenses, filing fees and stuff like that. $400 million. So anyway, these two agents got $4,000 each. Yeah. Doesn't seem fair, does it? But let's go back to poor Ellis, who's saying, it was a hard pill for me to swallow to walk away with so little. So she's done 9 transactions in her life. Her mother was a realtor for 30 years, and she didn't know that this is what she signed to agree to. See, because the listing, when she did the listing, she knew the commission was filled in. It was negotiable, that she could have. This is so ridiculous for us to believe. Let me show you my points on this. So here's my notes. Was her equity so small because she refinanced? So that's the first thing I'd want to know. So if her equity was $18,000, how long did she own it? It's not even that. How long did she own the house? How long did she own the house? Was that like 6 months, a year? And she made 18 grand in a year? What did she pay for? What did she sell for? Like, there's a lot of questions over here. Forget about the 40%, because that 40% between two agents really, well, Ketchmark is getting his 40% on his $1 billion that he's shaking down the industry. Because if she refinanced, if I was finishing my first point, if she refinanced, then her equity wasn't $18,000. It was $18,000 plus what she pulled out like an ATM when she refinanced. Maybe she didn't, but I'd want to know that. Listen, if this is true, why didn't she sell as a FSBO? So if this poor woman, it was such a hard pill to swallow to pay 40% of her equity, why would you do that then? Let's do it the other way. So you've got a case here, the first case, it could be $1 billion payout, payday, $1 billion payout. Why would Ellis let her attorney take $400 million? That's a lot. Why wouldn't she just do it herself? Geez, if she did it herself and didn't get $1 billion, but she got $500 million, or 600 million, or right? Why would you pay an attorney $400 million? Why would you pay a realtor 40% of your equity if it was such a hard pill to swallow? I'll tell you why. Because without the attorney, she probably wouldn't get nowhere near it. She couldn't do it herself. And the same thing is true. This daughter of a realtor of 30 years, she understands that real estate agents actually help benefit a homeowner, that a homeowner actually sells for more money, has less stress, more smoothness transaction. This is why it's a federal crime to help other people buy and sell real estate without a license, because it's a lot more than just putting a for sale sign in the property or doing open houses. She knows this, a daughter of 30 years. A realtor mother. So yeah, she knew paying that amount was better for her. Otherwise, she would have chosen to do it herself. Because she has done 9 transactions before. What other fees did she pay? Did she pay other fees, attorney's fees, taxes? And here's my question, because it was such a hard pill. It was such a horrible industry that we just really hurt people by getting paid. Earn our commissions. Did she ask the other folks, being that she was walking away with so little money, this poor woman, did she ask the attorney in her transaction, or the title company, or the taxes, or the town, any of these other folks, to ask her to maybe cut their fees? I'm sure she didn't. If she did, I know what the answer would have been. Let's look at Rhonda Burnett. By the way, did she ask Kutchmika, what's his name? Her attorney, the plaintiff, did he ask her to cut the 40%? Rhonda Burnett, also on Wednesday afternoon, the plaintiff for whom this case is named, it's named after Rhonda. Help me, Rhonda. She took the stand. Burnett is a former school psychologist. I don't know why that makes me laugh every time I say it. I really don't. But the fact that she's in a school and Ellis is in a school, she should talk to Ellis. Public school, I'm sorry, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm being smart. I don't mean to be, but it's just really, this is so offensive. She hired this listing agent from Home Service, the subsidiary Reese Nichols. Great I love Reese Nichols. Shout out Reese. For her home sale, the contract with the agent asked her to circle which commission rate she wanted to pay, offering 7, 8, 9, 10, or blank. The 6% was already written in the blank. Okay, once again, the fact that it was blank and the agent put in 6, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Is the commission fixed here in this example? It's a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It sounds like it's negotiable. It sounds like, oh, well, okay, yeah, but it's going 6, 7, 8 now. Well, what do you want? You want us to put free? 0? Oh, would you be happy if we put 0, 1, 2, 3? At some point, there's got to be a flaw because keep in mind, real estate agents are spending their own personal finances to try and market a property. This Rhonda and what are the homeowners in this complaint, I'll bet you none of them cut a check at the listing appointment saying, all right, here's, you want 6%, 5%, 7? Well, okay, well, let's negotiate that. But in the meantime, let me cut you a check for $5,000 for advertising and open house and for your time. See, because you know what they do for attorneys, that's what they do, right? If they're not working on a commission basis, they charge hourly. But before you can hire an attorney, you got to give them a retainer. So you cut a check to an attorney, and as that retainer gets bled, then you have to replenish it. So what you do with attorneys is you pay them in advance for their work. Now, if you have a good relationship like I do with my attorneys, I don't do that anymore. They bill me, and I pay the bill once I'm proven. But in the beginning, you got to pay them in advance. Now, here's the interesting thing: you pay them in advance, and if they lose, they still keep your money. With Rhonda's agents, what Rhonda's agents do is Rhonda's agents, they spend their money on Rhonda, and if they don't sell the house, they're out the money. This is a great deal for homeowners. They have no risk when they hire an agent. So there's more risk for the agent. And anyway, so this particular agent, the minimum she's willing to go is 6. And the fact that it was a blank clearly is pointing out that it's negotiable. It was lower than the rest, she said, but she knew she wasn't getting a deal. She said her agent told her nothing was negotiable. Yeah, see, let's be clear on this because part of the lawsuit is saying that we price fix and we all charge the same amount and that it's not negotiable. Not as an industry, but that's what they're saying as an industry that we all have said collectively, the commission is 6%. So all 1.6 million realtors go tell your clients it's 6 and you're not negotiating. Somehow that's what this plaintiffs are trying to prove. Listen, I'm a speaker. I charge to speak. And when people ask me why I cut my fee, I say no. For me to get on a plane, to go do what I do, I believe this is the educational and entertainment value is worth this. And if I were to do less with you than a client who did pay me that fee, I just stole from them. Why should I do the same gig for you that I did for them, but you pay less? It's an integrity issue. So no, I don't cut my fees. And you know what? My attorney doesn't cut their fees. And you know what? My stockbroker doesn't cut their fees. Some people, they set their fees and it's not negotiable. But as an industry, we're not fixing. There's no proof to that. So I don't understand that comment. All right. She listed the home for $275,000, but it sold for $250,000, and she paid a total of $15,000 in commission. Okay. Rhonda Burnett, she considered what McGall called a discount broker, your future address, who charged 1% but still required sellers to pay 3% to the buyer's agent. We had no problem paying for an agent to sell our house, but we're not happy about having to pay the buyer's agent. Okay, so that paragraph right there. So she's saying she had no problem paying an agent to sell the house. Guess who sells the house? The buyer's agent. That's who's selling the house. The listing agent, what they do is market the house. They don't sell the house. Listing agents, their job is to advertise, do open houses, to talk to brokers, open houses, to talk to other brokers. Their job is to promote it, is to create interest. The ultimate agent who brings the buyer and that buyer buys it, that's who sold the house. So Rhonda is saying right there, I don't have a problem paying the person who brings me the buyer. So we had no problem paying the agent to sell the house, but we're not happy about having to pay the buyer's agent. See, she's got it all whacked. Miguel then asked if your future had told her that her list price should be $250 rather than $275, so she confirmed the firm had. McGill is the attorney for NAR, by the way. Sorry. On redirect, Ketchman confirmed that Burnett had no problem paying her listing agent a 3% commission, and that your future agent had said she still had to pay the 3% because the firm uses the MLS. So I don't understand this exchange, except for if she had a problem with her agent charging the 6 that she filled in on that Flint, then why wouldn't you go with the discount broker and pay only the 1%? So I don't understand. So you've got this one agent from Maurice Nichols saying, this is what I charge, 6%. Now, if you want to pay more than the 6, that's the lowest I'll go. You know, I'm sure she said something, we can do more marketing and spend more money on that. That's why you would pay them more. But the minimum I'll go is 6. So she had an option to go with future address. Why did she not choose future address? Which they were obviously 4%. Which the point there is that there's choices for consumers. There's no National Association of Realtors conspiracy to lock in homeowners on one fee. So the last comment is not accurate. The seller had no problem paying the seller agent. The listing agent is the marketing side, not the selling side. Your future just charged 1% for marketing, and obviously Burnett chose a realtor because she wanted better marketing, period. Okay. Jeremy Keel. Keel took the standard. This is an interesting one. I don't understand these players. Keel took the stand next. An attorney. Keel specialized in elderly law. So now this plaintiff is an attorney, and he's going to say some really embarrassing things about himself. And he's for the elderly. So the home sale at issue in the case went for $205, and he paid a 6%, 3% to Keller, 3% to Reese and Nichols. He asked why he joined the suit as a class rep. He said that after going through the selling process, he thought it was unfair and wanted it to change. So he's on a cause of some kind, which is great. Eccles, am I saying that right? Cross-examined Keel, noting that Keel did not pay commissions when he was himself a buyer. He pointed out that in one purchase, Keel only paid a 5% commission and asked him if he had negotiated that. He said, no, I didn't know you could negotiate commissions. That was in part because the commission figures in the contract assignment were already filled in. Once again, if it's already filled in, it means it was blank, which suggests that that's the individual agent. That's what they're willing to charge, and it's not some big conspiracy in the country. Eccles then showed arbitration clause and class action and jury trial waiver clause in the purchase contract that Keel had crossed out before signing, which Keel confirmed. So here's what's saying. So he's saying, I have some notes here, but let me just riff here. So he's saying that as an attorney for elderly, he didn't know it was an option to negotiate the fee. Really? So you're an attorney for elderly and you didn't think you could negotiate like anything, but yet you knew you can negotiate the arbitration clause that was in the contract that you as an attorney crossed out. Of course. I mean, for him to plead that I didn't know that I can make changes to our arrangement, to the fees, to the commissions, or negotiate it or edit is so insulting to him. Like, if my mother was still alive and I needed an elderly lawyer, it wouldn't be this guy, if that were true. But it's not true. Anyway, so he's an attorney for the elderly. Does he advise his clients to not question things? He didn't think to ask about negotiating the commission? He obviously knew he could change the commission because he crossed out the arbitration clause. Jared, am I saying this right? Gerard Bright? I'm so bad with the name, sorry. On Thursday, Bright took the stand. Bright, the son of a factory worker, was a police officer for nearly a decade and is now executive director of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. That's pretty awesome. That is. Robert McGill from Home Services America cross-examined Bright and got him to acknowledge by going through various contracts that Bright signed that Bright knew that he would be paying commission, that his listing broker would be paying the buying agent. And then Bright said, sure, it's still my money. I don't understand that comment right there. Yeah, I understood that I was paying the listing agent, and I understood I was paying the buyer's agent, but yeah, it's still my money. Still my money. I shouldn't have to pay it. Well, here's an option. Don't sign the contract and don't hire an agent. Then you don't have to pay it. Well, I don't understand these people. You know what? Here's what I believe. I believe these people don't really believe that, because they just joined a lawsuit that this Kutch guy, he wants to do because he's in it for payday to shake down the industry. Come on, it's a money grab. The problem with this money grab is that there's already been changes that Remax has agreed to and Anywhere's agreed to, and the problem is if it gets any worse, that and NAR is fighting for us. I mean, I give them that, man. NAR is fighting this, and they said they want to go to the end with this, because the reason why is if what comes out of this by losing any more, giving any more ground on this, it's actually going to hurt the consumer. It's not going to help them. But, I can see this Kirchman attorney looking for a $400 million payday. That's very tempting. So that he's going for the money. That's why he's coming after us. If he really cared about the consumer, he would know that this is not something to be messing with. When asked why he joined the lawsuit as a class rep, Bright said, after my first experience selling a home, I was exposed for the first time to how it works, and I didn't think necessarily that it was fair. So when a friend told him about the suit, he offered to join. Okay. So it's unfair for the seller to pay an incentive to the agent selling the house? That's my question. So after he went through this process, he thought it was unfair for him to pay the agent who brought the buyer a commission. I don't understand. What would be fair then? The agent who brought the buyer to you, they should not get paid anything? What's the alternative to that? What's the alternative? If you think it's unfair for the agent who worked to get your property sold and bring you a buyer and hold that buyer's hands from contract to closing and inspections and mortgage applications, the hundreds of hours that they spend to help this buyer, if you think it's unfair that you paid them to get the price that you agreed to, what would be fair then? I'll tell you what the only alternative I see, because obviously the agent has to get paid. Then the buyer pays it. The buyer would pay that agent. Does that hurt Bright? Does that hurt the seller? That if a buyer has 10% to put down, that they have to now pay out of their 10% down their agent to help them buy the house. And now that's another bill that the buyer has to pay, which is less money for them to put down, which makes them less qualified, which makes his house less attractive, and maybe lose that buyer. So is that the alternative? Is that the plan that we think is going to be better for buyers and for sellers? Is it a better plan to have the buyer pay 2 to 6% to the selling agent? Could that hurt the seller by increasing buyer costs? Which is what I just said, but I put my notes there in case I forget my thoughts. So there you have it. There's the plaintiffs. Listen, I think that I've seen it happen so many times that people get wrapped up in things and they start to believe the absurdity, and they think that new belief is a better way, or it's been unfair. But, we've been doing this for decades, this model to help buyers not pay out of pocket, to put it into the contract price. it's a shame that we're faced with this. But I've said it before, I'll say it again in many of these recordings, is that anytime our industry has had disruptors and we've had challenges, whenever we've experienced a breakdown in what we do, we always have a breakthrough. We always come out of it stronger. I just hope it's not at the cost of the consumer. So anyway, I hope this helped you. I hope we shed some light, and there's my thoughts on the matter. Please stay safe, stay focused. Don't forget to keep smiling, and please remember through all this that you are an essential worker and that you make a difference. All right, thanks.